Hell to the good times, 'cause rock has got the right of way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to keep hammering that. That was a cover song by the band Iron Cross. And for those about to rock, we salute you. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. A very unexpected special presentation. What's your question number 88? That's how far we've made it up here. This was like fly by the seat of my pants. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling like I get a little bit of energy tonight. I have a large audience over in Australia, New Zealand. So good morning, everybody over there in the Tropic of Capricorn. If you're watching live, I appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you there in the U.S., if it's late for you on the East Coast, I'm on Central Standard Time. It's freaking 2:20 in the morning, baby. For those about to rock, we salute you. That's right. I do it late. I'm a night owl. This is what I'm decoding. This is when it's quiet where I'm at. I get my headphones on, and I go to town with my decoding skills. And I just got done putting a presentation together called The Underworld Decoded. And I just was feeling froggy, and I just was like, I'm going to come on here live and do, you never know when I'm going to show up. So if I pop up, I pop up, right? So I'm wearing the sunglasses once again, and especially this one, right? This is like, what's your question, raw? Because anytime you see the number 88, it means Ra, the sun god, right? And you wear your sunglasses. I got my Ray-Bans on. So this is what's your question, number 88. The sunglasses I wear as a prop to remind you that you're inside of a movie. This reality, and this is my final answer. My final answer is that we are inside of a movie. Forget simulation. You're in a movie, man. You're in a reality television show. It may be a video game. You may be controlled by some representative out in the stars. But this is a entertainment theater that we're playing out. Without question. That is what the code continually tells me as I break down the letters, numbers, and symbols. And a lot of you are following in the same footsteps. You're right there. You know, you see the code. You're seeing it in your own life. There's something magical about this reality when it comes to the code. Okay? So I appreciate each and every one of you for joining in here, wherever you're at in the world. Maybe you're a night owl as well. Maybe you're just waking up. Maybe you're getting some coffee and tea, and you're going to get blasted by my voice this morning. Today's date, September 28th, and it is the Nine of Cups. This is the card, the official card for September 28th. This is tied to the devil because this is wish fulfillment. The cups is the devil in the tarot. Like straight to it. Diabolos. You know, there's a toy. It looks like a yo-yo. It's called a Diabolo. It looks like that cup right there behind that person. The cups. The goblet. So I have that's coming out in the Underworld Decoded. And I really want to give a big special thanks to all of the members at Patreon, all of you donating members, because today was so magical. It started with a member on there that started out with this stone piece from ancient Egypt, and then another member posted something on the underground, and I was off to the races. And this deco coming out on the Underworld, woo, it's magical. So I'm pretty pumped about that. So I got a lot of energy tonight, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go really late. I'm just going to go late on this. What's your question 88? I'm going to get to as many questions as I can, and we're going to have probably a small group because most people are like sleeping by now, right? Especially on the East Coast. But those of you that are on the West Coast, well, maybe you're just getting home from partying all night. Who knows? So let's get into some of your questions. Here we go. Rusty Woodpecker asks, do you believe that the simulation we're in, well, first and foremost, do I believe that we're in a simulation? Kind of. We're in a movie. Is an AI program or our future selves? Well, that's a tough question to answer. That's a tough question. Here's my answer on that. You're inside of a movie. Life is but a dream. It's not real. It's real, but to us, it's not real to whatever's watching us. So simulation, throw it out the window. You're in a movie, man. This is a reality. Earth is a reality show. That's what I think. And you are the center of the universe. All of you. It's a contradiction for all of us, right? Like you put yourself on the pedestal. You are the most important person in this entire reality. You're the star of the show in this reality. And then you get to be an extra in my show. But you're the star of the show. So when you turn off the bullshit, you go higher and higher. But if you turn on the bullshit, you go lower and lower because you now are being affected by what you're tuning into. Unless, of course, you've done the work and you know that that's a movie as well. Yeah, we get some Aussie in the house, baby. Thanks, everybody, for, I want to tell you the numbers, the analytics, the large amount of you in Australia, New Zealand. So thank all of you. I think you're in the top 3 of the most watched. Australia. Yeah. A lot of Aussies. And some of my really, really close friends are Australian. So. It's funny because the one person that's missing is Pamela. So I'm going to give her shit. She's sleeping probably, right? The trusty moderator, she's probably sleeping, but I'm going to give her shit anyway, just for fun. So if you get to see her on another podcast, tell her, hey, where were you? All right. One day at a time asks what tarot card 30 means. I'm assuming you're asking what tarot card number 30 and what it means. Great question. Let me pull it out. Let me pull that card out. Now this is going on the normal, most popular 78 cards in the tarot deck. But let me pull it out. There it is right here. Okay. This card right here is card number 30. In the most popular spread, the Fool used twice, right? This card is the card of exorcism. This is the card of lightning. Lightning equals 30 in numerology. This is the 30th card in the deck. This is the card of the word demiurge. This is the card of the word Jehovah, the New Age name. This right here. And it means fast movement. Think about it. Exorcism, right? Leaving. or being possessed. Exorcism. The Eight of Wands, which comes from the Eight of Clubs, which is card 21, which is tied to the World card back to the Major Arcana. It's a pretty amazing card, the Eight of Wands. It's one of the 3 immovable cards. TC, what's up, brother? Have I decoded Michael Jackson? Yeah, it's on the channel. Decoded it many years ago. Just got to go in the catalog and look for it. Just type in Michael Jackson. You'll find it. Justice for Matthew North. Explain how we have no free will. Have you not watched any of the videos I put out? You may be new. I'm not poking fun, but I have over almost 600 videos now showing bands, singers, artists, presidents not having a choice. When I show that they don't have a choice, that supports that we don't have free will. I know that rubs people the wrong way, right? Like, yeah, I have free will. Prove it. And the answer is you can't. You simply cannot prove it at all. I would encourage you, Justice for Matthew, to go watch Robert Sapolsky. Here, let me just get this live for all of you. Hold on. So you can see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to play it for you. But if you need an in-depth definition on it, this guy right here, Robert Sapolsky, he will give you the best breakdown of why you have no free will. Okay? And, you know, what I can tell you is that door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, they're already predetermined for you. So when it looks like, oh, I'll show you, I'll just choose door number 2. Well, guess what? That door, when you go through it, already has everything mapped out for you. You may have some free will to how you react. I think that we have a little bit of free will based on our reactions. How you get emotionally reactive towards these things. We're giving feedback to whatever's running and harvesting this energy, but free will that's the illusion. But when you just let that go, like, that's old news. So it's like when you finally come to terms with that, like, you just let that go and you just move towards the surrendering of, like, okay, well, why am I here in this reality? What am I doing? What is my code? That is what you should be after. Figuring out what your code is. What you're coded as. Okay, so if it doesn't click for you, that's totally fine. It's not going to click for everybody. And again, I'm not here to twist anybody's arm. I'm not here to defend these notions. I already know. I've stopped believing a long time ago. And I'm not trying to be better than anybody. I know this rubs people the wrong way when I talk like this, but should be, what am I supposed to do? Tiptoe and walk on eggshells when I talk about this stuff? No. Sometimes people are just not going to see it. You're not going to see it. That's totally fine. But the thing is that there's absolutely, and I promise you this is a 1 + 1 = 2 fact for everybody. You will absolutely never in a million years be able to prove that you have free will. You will never, ever in a million years be able to prove it. Ever. But the code says that you do not. So, when you break down the code, when you break down your life and you see your astrological chart and your numerology, and then you start doing what other people are doing, like, holy shit, this thing, these synchronicities are happening. Yeah, the synchronicity. Why are these synchronicities? Why is this showing up in my life? Why is this person that? Because it's supposed to. That's why. So that's my long, explanation of that. And I'm not, like I said, I rub people the wrong way. I talk very confidently and it pisses people off. It rubs them the wrong way. And my opinion is meaningless. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, well, what do you mean you don't know what you're talking about? Because my truth doesn't have to be your truth. So my opinion is meaningless and I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm sincere about that. Like, I know what I'm talking about, but to some people, I'm a freaking, a moron. I'm clueless. I don't have an idea of what's going on. I'm this, I'm that. Okay, cool. Your opinion is meaningless for me, and my opinion may be meaningless for you. All that matters is what you believe, what you adopt as your truth. That's it. Not what I say. So be a skeptic. Go do your own research. Please do that. Please don't just accept what I'm saying as, oh, Logan knows what he's talking about. No, be a skeptic. Please be a skeptic of what I'm talking about. But unless you're willing to decode your life and everything around you, the last thing you want to do is say, oh, Logan's full of shit. Well, maybe you want to go ahead and fact check everything I'm saying. Okay? May James is asking, what do you think of Diddy? My answer is, I don't care. What does Diddy think of me? What does Diddy think of you? That would be my question, right back to you, deflecting, right? What does Diddy think of you, May James? What do you think the answer would be? What does Diddy think of you? What would your answer be? Like, well, I know what the answer. What does Diddy think of me? He doesn't even know I exist. So why should I even pay any attention to Diddy? I don't. Don't care. Curly M's asking about the second moon, the apparent second moon that's meant to be appearing in our atmosphere soon. I mean, I don't know anything about that, so I couldn't give you any opinion on that. Ketrook asked, is smoking leading one soul to hell or opening chakras or both? Smoking what? You'd have to be more clear on that. Oh, weed. Well, you're smoking something from the Matrix. Everything in this reality is part of the Matrix. Mushrooms, coca leaves, poppy latex from heroin, morphine, cannabis. They are made inside the Matrix. So yes, when you ingest it, when you smoke it, you may have this brilliant, amazing experience. I mean, think about it. When your taste buds are wide open and you have a chocolate bar you haven't had in a while, right? Caramel, chocolate, whatever. And your taste buds are on fire. They're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Right? You have this rush of sugar. What is the difference between sugar and cannabis? And the answer is nothing. They just act on different frequencies. Cannabis affecting essentially the brain, but so does the chocolate and the sugar, because the taste buds are hooked into your brain, right? Those things are part of this matrix. So when you take cannabis, ingest it, smoke it, when you snort a line or you drink a drink or you smoke a cigarette, it's part of this matrix. That's my answer on that. So whatever you want to do with it from there on out, that's up to you. But leading one soul to hell, That's pretty deep. I mean, that's like saying if you eat chocolate bars, you're going to go to hell. Like your soul's going to go to hell. There's no difference between taking a chocolate bar or injecting heroin. In my opinion, there's no difference because they're all part of this matrix. Yeah, sure, the heroin's much more destructive. It's addictive. So is chocolate, though. A lot of people are addicted to chocolate. It's just, I know, but I don't inject the chocolate. Who cares what the delivery system is? Oh, I know, but I don't have to go to rehab for chocolate. Some people probably would have to if they were to be authentic. So to me, there's no difference between chocolate addiction and heroin addiction. All part of this matrix. It just depends on who you're talking to. Milan M is asking, what do you think of the number 38 or 138? Well, 38 is tied to the word tour guide. 38 is tied to the Two of Cups, right? 38 is tied to the I am. The number 8 and the number 3 are a match because the 3 is a broken 8. If you break an 8 on the left side, it'll make a number 3. And I covered this on the Patreon. The Patreon is the donating site where you could watch these videos on the Jesus-Lucifer scandal. Jesus being the number 8, which is a lot of people say it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. Great. Well, Yeshua is the number 8, and Lucifer, which is tied to Halil in Isaiah 14 verses 12, that word in Hebrew numerology is a 3. The 8 and the 3. Which is essentially the sun and the moon, the yin and the yang, Horus and Set, black and white. And then the 138, you add on the 1 to the 38, and now it changes a lot of things because the number 1 is a leader number. And the 38 is tied to the I am. It's tied to the tour guide. Let me give you the card so you can see what I'm talking about in the tarot, right? If I can find it. Two of Cups. Where the hell is it? Okay, I can't find it. The Two of Cups is card number 38. Hold on. My cards are stuck together here. Give me a second, folks. Be patient. It's okay, I'll get to your question, I promise. Wow, I can't find it. 2 of Diamonds, 2 of Wands. Oh, there it is. It was stuck. So the 38th card in the tarot is the 2 of Cups. This card right here is partnerships. So think about it. The 8 and the 3 is a broken 8, which essentially is the same number, really. And this card is tied to double helix. Double helix in the Greek is 38. This is the partnership card. And the 138, if you like the band The Misfits, we are 138. Well, that's tied to the partnership of destruction, because now you bring in the number 1 to that. The 1, the 3, and the 8. I mean, the number 8 in numerology is the number of power. The number 3 is creativeness. And the number 1 is a Mars drive energy. So you have power, drive, and creativeness, which we are 138, right? Which is the serial killer energy. So, but also 138 is tied to the movie. This movie, Lights, Camera, Action, is tied to 138. Right? So there's many, many layers to the numbers here. But if you see the 138, it should remind you that, like, oh, what's going on in my movie? Because that's what the 138 is tied to. as well. Alexander's asking, is the movie ramping up to wake us up and have our own awakenings? Well, remember that you're the center of this movie. Everything is irrelevant other than you. Like, you invited me here because you decided to tune in, part of your movie. I didn't make that choice. I didn't make that part of your screenplay. You're the most important part of this reality. So if you're going to wake up, you're supposed to wake up. If you're going to break your leg, it was part of your screenplay to break your leg. Okay? One Day at a Time's asking, have you decoded the vocalist from Radiohead? I have not. I like that band, though, but I haven't decoded that band. Ra-dio. Ra, it's got God twice. Ra and then Dio. Ra-dio. You have radioactive elements. Radioactive. Radioactive. Are we all under MK Ultra? My final answer is 1,000%. 1,000%. Is God consciousness through our thoughts? 1,000%. They're not coming. Where are our thoughts coming from? You have all these thoughts coming into your head continuously. You can't shut it off. And then there are going to be people saying, well, just meditate. Yeah, well, when you meditate, what do? You could just quiet the mind. You can't quiet the mind. That's BS. You cannot quiet your mind. Well, I'll just stop thinking. You can't. Well, just focus on your breath. Well, what do you think you're doing? You're thinking of focusing on your breath. You're not designed to not think. You're designed to think. You're having the thoughts, but you're not having the thought. The thoughts are coming in, but they're coming from somewhere. Jig is asking about Jason Bashirs from Archaics. Was born on my 10th birthday. Jason Bashirs was born on July. Was it the 10th he was born on? Let me see. I'll just double check. No, Bashirs was born on June 9th, actually. June 9th because he ate a diamonds. Yep, June 9th. What can you glean from the decode? Well, if you watch the decode that I did for him, I mean, you can find a lot about the Eight of Diamonds. It's tied to Lucifer straight up, which I know that freaks people out when I say that, but if you want to know more about it, go watch the decode that I did on him, and you'll see. Cosmic Furniture, have you heard of the birth chart Chiron degree equaling the age of that wound occurring? I haven't. I haven't. One Day at a Time's asking, did you decode tribulation? Some channels I see Christians say 9th of October. Yeah, and when that date doesn't happen, they're gonna come up with another date and then another date. I've done my fair share of predictions. I don't like doing predictions because when you get them wrong, when they don't come true, you get slammed for them. So it's like, picking a sports team, picking who's going to win the Super Bowl, you get hammered if you don't get the right team right. I've found that out. Jane's asking about mushrooms. Do mushrooms let you go to another portal if you use right? Well, how would you use them? How would you use mushrooms wrong? I mean, how would you define that? Anyway, I know that I don't think there's right or wrong. I mean, you could use it where you could get completely shit-faced drunk and then take mushrooms. Would that be doing it wrong? Well, I don't think so. You just have probably a really, really, really weird experience, right? Like, I wouldn't suggest it. But again, mushrooms are part of the matrix. They're made in the matrix. When you take mushrooms, you're having a matrix experience. I know people say, "Oh, well, I have this out of body experience." How are you to support that? Clearly you had visions. Clearly you have visions when you take something, but they're made in the matrix. So to go to another portal, well, I mean, it definitely, I would say, this is my opinion, it opens up your pathways to maybe experience something else. But what are you experiencing? See, the thing is you got to come back. I've talked about this so many times, NDEs and all these things. You can't have an NDE and stay in the NDE and tell somebody about it in the NDE. You got to come back into this reality and wake up and to say, "Oh my God, I had this NDE," which is kind of in my opinion, it's a fancy word for, "Hey, I had a dream last night." What's the difference between a near-death experience and having a dream? My answer is nothing. 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 These are experiences that you have in the mind that you got to come back in the soberness of your reality to tell somebody else about. I'm not belittling people that have near-death experiences. The internet is littered with them, and they're hyped up. And I've watched my fair share of them, but it's like watching somebody tell me what their dream was. What about their dream last night? Because you got to tell it in this reality. I don't think there's anything fancy about it. I'm not impressed with near-death experiences. I'm not impressed. I'm more impressed with somebody that has a dream and tells me about their dream. "Oh my God, I had a dream about you last night." Why is that any different than a near-death experience? I'm not impressed with near-death experiences at all. Zilcho. I don't think it's anything different than a dream. That's just my take on it. Maybe I'm hard to be impressed. But Alexander Cameron's asking about a video on quantum and biofield. I haven't done direct decodes on that. No. Joey's asking, how come dogs die if they eat chocolate? Well, I've given plenty of chocolate to furries before, and they haven't died. But I'm not suggesting you do that to your furry. You got to do your own homework. Luna Long Shadows saying, didn't you decode the 138? I did. It's on the Patreon. I did. I have We Are 138. It was the We Are 138 is a short story. It's on the actual Misfits song. And then I did a full hour presentation on the 138. That is on the Patreon, exclusively for donating members. Justice for Matthew, you and your dad are 9 of diamonds. Well, that's the thing, is that a lot of you will have similar card. You may have exactly the same card, but when you open up the astrological chart, way different. When you open up your human design, it's probably going to be way different. When you do your Enneagram, it's going to be way different. When you take the personality type, the Briggs-Myers, it's going to probably be way different. So it's not just like, oh my God, I have a match to somebody in the same card and all that stuff. Yeah, okay, the 9 of diamonds, great. You know, the 9 of diamonds is the card of the actor. You're on television card. But where do you go from there? You gotta dig, you gotta dig, you gotta dig, you gotta dig. You can't just leave it at, oh my God, we have the same birth card. No, you don't have the same astrological chart. You don't have the same birth city. The latitude, longitude's different. Different high school mascots. Different upbringings. Different best friends. You know, there's so many different aspects that you have to consider. And then you have, Nine of Diamonds has the Queen of Diamonds. There's like, you have your 4 primary cards. You have your 13 cards, your Phoenix card. I mean, there's a lot that goes into just the cards alone. And then the ages as well, what you're living through with your current age. May James is asking, what is the number 29? Well, it's the number 2 and 9. So you just studied numerology, right? Like, what is 2 and what is 9? Well, what happens when you go, what does number 1 mean? That's I. Numero uno. Me. Myself. Ego. What comes after the 1? The 2. So now you move into duality. Now you have something else. Now you start to get into possessions. In astrology, if you look to your house of astrology in your second house, that's where your money is, which is a big deal. Whatever's in your second house of your astrology, that's really a big deal for you, because that's how you start to obtain your money and your possessions. It's ruled by Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. That's paired with the number 9, which is Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, which is the expansion of that. 9 is a repeater number. Repeat. You put the 9 next to the number 2, repeating duality, repeating duality, repeating duality. 2 is a partnership number. Repeating partnerships, repeating partnerships. 9 is a sage, wise number, 9 is. We just had a hurricane come through here. Didn't really hit Cancun, but it really hammered Florida. Florida got slammed. And if you looked at the hurricane, there was a number 9 right in the middle of it. 6 if you flip it around. That's right into nature. 9. What's up, Steven? Steven says, do you have any relationship, astrology, synastry, red flags you remember off the top of your head? If you're asking me this, I don't. I don't have any red flags at all. Astrology is simple, but it's very complicated, because there are so many layers to look at. And the more you get into like in Vedic astrology, you have the D1 chart, your natal, then you have the D9, which is your second part of your life, and it talks about relationships. But then if you get into relationships, you have the 7th house, which is your typical partner and marriage house. But then if you're a male, you look to where the Venus is at. If you're a female, you look to where the Mars is at. And then you got to figure out who's the lord of that house. So it can get really complicated, astrology, just on that alone. Steven says, Logan, your Darakarku is Mars. Well, that depends on what you're looking at, right? In my Astro Seek chart, that with the moon neck and neck, depending on how you look and how you observe, yes. But if you go to the Mastering the Zodiac chart, which is what I've kind of graduated into, well, that's not so. My Mars is in Ophiuchus. And then it's not the lowest degree. It changes. So it will depend on what chart you look at, really, is what it will do. But thank you for that. J-Ball6 says, what's the intuition, the inner voice, the voice in your head? Like, I have a conversation with the voice in my head all the time. Don't you? Some of you talk to yourselves like you're schizophrenic. I do all the time. I've been doing it since I can remember. Ashley Zana's asking, what do you think about sacred geometry, the flower of life? I love all that stuff. I've decoded, check out my Kabbalah decoded. I've done the flower of life decoded. The tree of life, I've decoded a lot of sacred geometry. Check out my Khufu. They're all in there. I have a lot of decodes on the sacred geometry. My A Great Architect of the Universe has a lot of sacred geometry in it, so I'm a huge fan of that stuff. TC's asking, what is the sky telling us about this this upcoming week? I'd have to look at the chart. Maybe I'll check out that a little bit later. Holland in the house. London in the house. Thanks everybody for joining in. Debbie Kennedy says, I can't wait till February. That reminds me, yeah, so I might as well say this. So this is tentative, but this is the goal, and that is, and I put this out on the Patreon. So if you're a member there, you know, you can go to Patreon and become a member, a free member. You don't have to become a donating member. But the plan is to have our very first convention in February of 2025 here in Cancun, Mexico. And there will be, it will be a grand, then the idea is to get, I would imagine, probably 300 people, no more than that. It probably won't even get that high, to come live to the hotel. And it'll be a whole weekend event. And then the goal is to stream it live for people to be able to tap in like a pay-per-view event. It'll be very inexpensive. And the goal is to get some pretty big names in the decoding world. I've already invited Sharon Jeffers. She's already agreed to come. So that's that. And I know that there's going to be some pretty good names to add to the repertoire of the convention, to be determined on the day, to be determined on the name. But it'll be probably in the first part of February. And again, it's going to be, the goal is to get it at an all-inclusive hotel, at a convention center, at a ballroom there. I have my friend Tasha, who's agreed to come, she's somebody who has over 1,000 seminars under her wing. She's the best videographer that you could ask for. She's amazing. She does stage presence. So she's already agreed to come. So this is the thing, man. We're gonna push this. We're gonna do this, man. And I have a lot of amazing ideas, workshops, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're somebody who, you know, you really want to experience this thing live, man, we're going to do What's Your Question live. That's the idea. So that's what we're going to do. So this is going to be awesome. So the very first Decode Your Reality convention is tentatively scheduled for February of 2025. So I can confidently say that's the plan. So I'm really stoked about that. So if you have somebody that you would like to see as a speaker at the event, you could send me an email for your recommendations, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and let me know who you'd like to see show up and come as a speaker. But it's going to be a really amazing, this is going to be unlike no other. I was on the seminar circuit, so I know what I like. I know what people like. And again, I have my friend Tasha who's going to come, and she's got over 1,000 seminars, literally traveling around. She knows exactly how to, the best sound. It's going to be all plugged in. It's not going to be shitty sound. It's going to be the best sound. If you're tuning in live, it will be plugged right into the internet. You're going to have the cleanest sound, not bullshit sound, the best videographer, the best photos, the best of the best. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So I'm pretty jazzed about this. So tentatively, February 2025, Cancun, Mexico, this area right around. You got tons of stuff to do here. There'll be events and, they got tons of retreats here. You can go to Tulum. You can go to Playa del Carmen. It's going to be sick. So that's the goal. Rusty Woodpecker's asking, do I have any futuristic or prophetic dreams? No, I don't. I just have dreams. One day at a time is asking, can you decode Bitcoin price for next year? No. That's Jordan's. Go follow Jordan over at Waters Above. Take his course, subscribe, follow, be part of his wolf pack. He's the person that is the, he's much better at it than I am. I don't do the watching the charts and all that. I just collect the stuff, man. I don't really, that's not my forte. I didn't want to be short with you one day at a time. I'm just, it's just not my thing. Yeah, Santos, I'm going to invite Santos. I don't know if he's going to come out of hermit mode, but I'm going to invite Santos, see if he'll come. I've already asked Jordan. I don't know if Jordan's going to want to finally make his live debut. So I'm not sure, but the actual fact of the matter, I've been asked this so many times to decode Gangstalking, and I'll tell you what I've told everybody else. There's nothing to decode. You can decode the word, but you need a subject. You would need a person. You need to find out who's gangstalking you. What's their code? What's their astrological map? What's their numerology? Who are they? You'd need to have all these parameters in place. Otherwise, there's nothing to decode. Gangstalking there's nothing. There's no subject. There's no foundation for it. I've been asked this so many times, and I would entertain the idea, but unless somebody can give me a whole bunch of data, a lot of people have asked me, decode this crypto coin and decode that. Okay, what you give me all the founders' dates and their birthdays and everything that goes into a decode, and I would gladly look into it. But most people don't want to do the work. They want me to do it all for them. And a lot of these coins, the founders, they don't have their birthdays. There's no founding date. There's no when I decoded Bitcoin, there was Genesis block 0 when they launched it on January 3rd. I can look at the astrological map for that. A lot of these coins, they don't have those things. So there's nothing to go on with that. And like I said, I'm not belittling I know this is a thing for people, right? But there's nothing. I don't have any meat and potato. I have no foundation to decode gangstalking. There's nothing there's no subject there for it other than a topic. I don't really have any substance to this gangstalking thing that happens to people. It's like asking me, decode dreams. Okay. Which I've done. Life is but a dream. But then there's the poem, and then there's this. And then there's that. So Happy Hissy Fits is asking what brand of tens unit to use. I have this unit right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can just wipe it off. It's called, I can't even read the damn name. EST massager or something like that. A friend of mine bought this for me. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not, but it's way overpriced. A friend bought it for me. It's like a $300 unit. It's way overpriced. You can get one online for like $50. And I've talked about this. Let me show you. I've talked about this, that I have this machine, this unit comes with these slippers that you plug in. They have the plugs right there, and you put your feet in these things, and it has spots on there that the TENS unit, and it buzzes your feet. I'm telling you folks, this right here is a game changer. Like I have a herniated disc in my neck. It started out with a minor neck injury. Not even a neck injury, but just overuse of shrugging, just bodybuilding, whatever. And then like I went through like a very long time of headaches every day, waking up with headaches every day. And then, I got this unit, and they came with these slippers, and I do this every day for at least an hour. And it has increased my mobility from turning my head to left to right. And why that is because this is reflexology. Everything ends in your feet. So these things right here are a freaking game changer. Like, for me, huge. One of the biggest game changers in my life. And you can get them on Amazon, which I showed you. You can get a TENS unit. You don't even need to have this TENS unit, but you can get a TENS unit with the slippers for like $60 US, which I already showed on Amazon, delivered. Game changer. Game changer. Donna Harper's asking, are you going to launch a Logan vest and tee range? I don't really understand your question. Vest and tee range? I hope I'm not like butchering. If it was like a fun joke, I hope I'm not butchering it. The actual fact of the matter asks, so if this is a movie, why wake up to the truth? Well, the thing is that all that matters is what you end up adopting as your truth. So if you don't want to wake up, then go do that. But if you're asking me, the most valuable thing that you could do is figure out what you're doing here. It's the most valuable thing you can do. Because once you know what you're supposed to do, you won't deviate away from it. I'll give you an example. And I've said this before. Let me just take you on this tour. This guy right here. This guy right here, okay? The question I will throw at you, do you think this guy right here, this dude, do you think he knows a thing or two about what's going on in the world stage? Do you think he has access to books that you will never have access to? Do you think this guy knows a thing or two about a thing or two? Or do you think he's just a moron? He's just an idiot. And he has no clue about what's going on in the world and with the world affairs. What would your answer be? Well, let me tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, when you get put into this position, my truth is this guy knows way more than you'll ever know. Because he has access to information that you'll never have access to, myself included. Now, the thing is that a lot of people say, well, he's Luciferian and he's satanic and he's this and he's that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, do you see him changing the course of his actions and his life? Well, the answer is absolutely not. This guy is all in. He is not deviating from his course of actions. He is not changing the course of his life. He is still promulgating the cross on his chest. He wears that big ass cross, the papal cross, which has got the shepherd with the sheep on it. He's not deviating away from the course of his actions. He is continuing on his mission, and he knows a thing or two about a thing or two. So what does that tell you about this reality? That should tell you everything you need to know about how this reality works. Is that these people in these high positions, if you want to call them that, they're not moving from their positions. They are all in. And that is the very reason why you should study what the hell you're doing here. Because like he knows what he's doing. Pope Francis knows what his role is. Don't you want to know what your role is? I would think so. If you've already figured it out and you're doing your role, great. But if you haven't, that's great too. Because now you're on the hunt. You're on the search. And then you get to go all in with your code. Right? Sojourn 137 says first Jesuit Pope. Yeah. And then you can add to that. Oh, Donna, you're talking about a Decode t-shirt. I had a merchandise website, and it just, maybe I didn't let it run long enough, but I had all the logos that I made, all the things that I came up with. I mean, I'm wearing one of the shirts now, the Watcher shirt. I had all these. And it was just, it really wasn't, to me, it wasn't worth it continuing to keep it open, but we'll see. Maybe we'll open it back up again. Joey says he has a neck injury, and you get sinusitis. Well, I'm telling you that this TENS unit, game changer. With the slippers, it's made my mobility with my neck big time. It's helped me out. So I would definitely, recommend it. Let me show all of you real quick. I'll take you on the journey here. There you go, right there. These right here. You can buy them separate. Or you can get... See which one I recommended before. You can buy them separately. Yeah, it was this one right here. You can buy $75. It's gone up a little bit in price. My parents have this unit. I've used it, so I know that it works. And it even comes with a massage belt. So there's 2 little electrodes on either side, and you wrap it around your waist, and it buzzes your waist. So if you have some kind of issues with, your waist, this is good right here. But these slippers are amazing right here. It's a game changer, folks. Like, game changer. I think everybody here in this chat should own a pair of these because it's reflexology and all the nerve endings end in your feet. And everybody can use a reflexology session. You never have to go to the reflexologist anymore because this thing buzzes your feet. So that's that. I'll put this in the chat. If you're somebody who's somebody's in the U.S., there you go. It won't let me. Damn. All right, let me give you the keyword for it. "24 nodes." Okay. Here, you'll have to copy and paste this. Why didn't it copy that? Hang on a second. There you go. I'll just paste this to the top. If you just, I just pinned it to the top. All you got to do is copy and paste that right there into your Amazon, and it should pop it up. Yeah, I don't know what brand it is. It's called Tech Care. But like I said, I got one of these for my parents, and I got to use it, and it works great. It's not so much the device, right? But it's the units that you have with it. Those slippers, I'm telling you, freaking game changer. Vicky DeVicky says Gratitude Junkie would be a sick clothing brand name. Well, yeah, thank you. I had the t-shirt. Just didn't sell a lot of them. People didn't buy the shirts, so I just, I didn't market it though, right? It was just... Stephen asks, do you think sleep is important? Yes. I've seen a guy online who sleeps 4 hours a day and looks fit. I have a friend of mine, a really close friend of mine. He's a true Capricorn. He sleeps 3 hours a day. I don't know how he does it. And he's got as much energy as I do. So it will just come down to and depend upon how you array it. There'll be a lot of intangibles. But for me, I like my sleep. And I think sleep is extremely important. For me, I think sleep is what regenerates the cells, repairs the body. You don't really do that when you're awake. So I think sleep is really important. Donna says, well, he's not out chasing ass, so he's got to be doing something. I would imagine you're talking about the Pope. So that leads me into this. I'm going to tell you this. Let's get really raw. As Jordan would say, let's get really spicy. I used to be in the stem cell business. I was in that business. I've gotten stem cells. I've gotten what's called a BMAC using my own stem cells. So I used to be in the business, and they're expensive, right? If you know and you've priced out stem cells, they're not cheap. They're in the thousands. Like, they're not cheap. And now they've advanced so much that you can get, and now it's all like umbilical cord stem cells. And it's not even just the stem cells, it's going to be other things in there as well that really do the healing. But I got out of that game a long time ago, before the pandemic hit. And now, you know, I'm very candid about talking about this, and that is the fact that if you decide that you want to get stem cells, chances are you may be getting stem cells of somebody who got the you know what. Because when a woman is pregnant and they collect the embryonic stem cells, you don't know where they're coming from. As a customer buying the stem cells, when you get embryonic stem cells, you're just getting them from the person that buys them as an in-between agent, because that's what they do. It's like a broker. They don't know they know where they're getting them from, but they don't know where they're getting them from. So if it was me at this point, I would never in a million years get stem cells because of that. I had gotten some stem cells a couple of years ago from one of my really close friends. And the reason why I got them is because he was giving them to me, right? It was like a leftover, but I knew that they were prior to 2020. I knew that they weren't stem cells that could be this. So now I'm talking about that, right? Because if you're somebody who are considering that, it's like Russian roulette. And then on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about sex. And this is the benefit of being celibate and not sleeping around, because you may meet somebody and they may lie to you. Like, did you get the you know what? Right? I mean, that's like the question you need to ask right now if you're going to get involved with somebody of the opposite sex that's brand new. Did you get the... And do you think everybody's going to be honest? No, they're not. People are going to lie. And if you have the you know what, if you do this, the cha-cha-cha, with somebody who did the yeah, are you willing to go down that rabbit hole? Not me. I mean, yeah, you can say, well, I'll wear protection. That doesn't mean jack shit. So there's a huge advantage to being celibate right now. Not just because I'm doing it, and I got friends of mine that are not because of that. It's because of that, but because of this situation that I'm talking about right now. Because you don't know what's going on in that person's life. So I know I went from stem cells to having sex, but it's this, it's like, I wouldn't get stem cells. You can do your own. You can do, fat stem cells. You can do your own. Absolutely. That's the way to go. And they definitely work in most cases. But just to go get embryonic stem cells? Hell no. I wouldn't do it. No. And then having sex with somebody that you just met, or you're like, oh yeah, I know them for 3 months. Yeah, but people lie. It's not worth it. So there is this luxury now of celibacy, right? There's a huge luxury of it, I think. And I want to talk about it. So I'm talking about it. I mean, I think, love and sex and orgasms and all, I mean, yeah, that's great. And I've had my fair share of partaking in that stuff, but at this stage of the game, it's just like, this is what we're faced with at this stage of the game. We're facing this, and I've said it so many times, and I'll say it again, that the Bible is a book of transhumanism, and I stand by that after doing all the research. It's a book about transhumanism. And I think that there's a good chance that the paradise that is promised is a digital paradise. I'm not so sure that it is a paradise where you'll be raptured out of this reality and you'll be taken to some glorious place that is free of this and free of that. Anyways, what's up, Anne Marie? We got Hawaii in the house. Anne Marie's asking, are you still going to do a decode on celibacy? Well, I'm considering doing. Let's talk about celibacy. I've already done the love trap. It's just I look around me, and I don't want to. I definitely want to respect people, but I want to. I'm very raw. A lot of people, I piss people off. I'm a disruptor, right? And I just don't care if you don't like me or if you're going to give me a thumbs down because of what I'm going to say because it rubbed you the wrong way. But I'm a disruptor, right? And again, I'm not saying my opinion is meaningless here on what I'm going to say. So if I rub you the wrong way, well, you haven't figured this reality out, because if you can sit here and listen to what I got to say without getting offended, without getting a reaction, that you've refined yourself. But if you can't sit here and listen to what I got to say, if you get triggered, well, you haven't leveled up yet. The name of the game is to be non-reactive in this reality. Anyway, I just see people pumping kids out, man. I just see people just getting pregnant, and they're like, what are you doing? Like you can't even afford to have the kids you got now, and you're out pumping away and now you get another kid, and it's like you can't even control your animalistic endeavors. And it's just like, man, the world is messed up as it is in so many different ways, and you want to bring another kid into this world that you can't even afford because you couldn't keep it in your pants, because you just can't overcome the orgasm, the feeling of that. It's amazing, man. And this is coming from just my rawness, I think that love is the trap. That's my final answer. And I've already shot the decode. The topic is called Fallen. The story of the fallen in theology. And I say story, right? I'm not saying it's true. It's a story. I've already shot it. It's over an hour long. It will be released on the Patreon very soon. You're not going to want to miss that decode. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. It doesn't matter to me whether or not you come over and become a donating member, but there's a reason why I have all the big decodes coming out on Patreon and a donating member, because it's all about reciprocation. Free, there's nothing in free. There's an aspect of give and take. If you're somebody, a lot of people out there take. They don't give. Give and take is a reciprocation. That's the reason why, the main reason why the Patreon was created. But anyway, the fallen, the sons of God, and they couldn't stop their mojo. They couldn't stop their drive of, wow, like I want that. Lust. They couldn't help it. And then the code says that maybe they're trapped here. Maybe. And then if you take the same set of circumstances and you put it to somebody who has a child with somebody and they can't even afford the child they got, they become trapped. We use these examples. People they pump kids out, they do this, and they can't even afford it. And then that poor kid they raise, man, and the responsibilities on the parent, and they raise that child. They can't even afford to raise a child. And the poor child, right, has a shitty upbringing, doesn't have this, doesn't have that, is missing a big layer of their, I was very fortunate about both my parents. I mean, my parents just celebrated their 54th wedding anniversary. And so I grew up with my parents. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But a lot of people they're missing the dad, missing the mom. Like that poor kid. The poor kid doesn't have that. A lot of you have gone through that. And then we look around this world and we see people pumping kids out. And it's like there's no guarantee you're going to stay in the relationship. And then the kid has to suffer because it grows up with no mother, grows up with no dad. Like the natural way is you grow up, you have a mom and a dad, and you get taught by the mom and the dad the equilibrium of the yin and the yang. But you lose one of those, and now the kids, it's not going to have that equilibrium anymore. So I just think that people, we don't think as people, myself included. Like I've talked about this so many times in my consciousness. Growing up as a kid, I want to get married. I mean, I got married 3 times. I've been married 3 times. Like, what the hell was I thinking? Well, it was just programmed in my DNA. Get 18, 16, driver's license. 18, job. I mean, I was working since I was 16. 21, I get to go out and drink. Woohoo! Then you want to get a girlfriend. Then you want to start having sex. Then you're chasing the ass. You're not thinking. You're reckless. Where do we wake up in this reality to realize, am I doing things according to the natural laws, so to speak? So, I think we're on this quest of doing it better. I think this is why I say mankind, we're in a reality show. We live a life of drama, and this reality needs people to be divorced. They need kids to be this and that because the drama continues. And that's what's being harvested for energy. But when you have something that's very beautiful and something calm and peaceful, there's nothing to harvest energy from because you're very calm and peaceful. Like I've said so many times, myself, that I'm somebody who I have not a lot of distractions. I don't have a lot of attachments. So I'm very woo-saw. I'm very calm. And this is why I get to pay attention to the neutrality, live from this barrier here of being a human being in control of my mojo, being in control of my domain. When the relationships to me are the hardest things in the world. Like, I'm not talking about being a parent. I'm talking about being in a relationship with somebody that I'm in love with, right? It is the hard. I don't care if you say, oh, I know, but we match up so great. I've heard all the stories. Oh, we don't argue. And then 2 years later, there's freaking a restraining order. I've heard all the stories, right? The shiny new toy of a relationship doesn't last. I'm not saying you can't have a relationship, by the way, and I'm not belittling relationships, those of you that are in relationships. But what I am saying is they are the hardest things. They are the hardest things because you have to sacrifice, and a lot of you get mad that you have, or you'll just get pissed off and you won't say anything because you got to sacrifice, because you got to go do something you don't want to do. But you weren't thinking of that when you first got into the relationship because you were chasing the ass. You wanted to have an orgasm. You wanted to have a kiss. You wanted to hold hands, right? We don't think of these things when we're chasing that. And that feeling just doesn't last. It doesn't. It's like trying to tell me, oh yeah, it lasts. It's like trying to tell me a new car will stay that way forever, or a new pair of shoes will stay that way forever. That's bullshit. No way. Relationships are not the shiny new toy all the time. So that doesn't mean you can't have a relationship, but they are the toughest thing in the world because it's a distraction from, and my opinion is, it is the ultimate distraction because it takes away from your spirituality. It takes away from your oneness with spirit, with God, whatever, because you have to pay attention. You have this person that says, pay attention to me. Let's go on, do this. Let's go on, do that. And you want to become very spiritual. You can't do that because you got to pay, you got a family, you got to feed the dog, you got to pay the house bills, you got to do the mortgage, and now it's life and it just takes over and you get sucked in and you get distracted. Right? And again, I'm not saying that doing a family and all these things, there's not a reward for that, because I understand that there is. What I'm saying is that there is so much value in being, especially at this stage of the game, there's so much value in being single, being celibate, not chasing ass, not trying to get some. There's more value in that than there is value in chasing it at this stage of the game. Now that may change, but at this stage of the game, there's more value in the life that I'm living than in the life that people are living when they're going out and getting married and having family and all that, and they're taking all these risks. There's no risks in my life. I feel like I'm very safe. And I'm not trying to sell you anything, by the way. I'm merely just presenting something to you to consider. That's it. That's all. There's no arguments in my play. There's no arguments in here. I walk in my door. There's nobody yelling at me. There's nobody asking me to do something for them. There's not anything. I do it. I have people that I do stuff for. I help people. What do you think? I wouldn't be able to spend 3-4 hours on a podcast week in and week out. I wouldn't be able to pump out all these decodes if I had a life that I had to pay attention to somebody else. I would have to sacrifice. I wouldn't be able to do it all. So the betterment of what you're getting would diminish. That's just the way it would be. So the value in being by yourself will increase your spirituality more than it would be if you're in a relationship. That's my final answer. There will be more paying attention to your oneness with God than it would be if you have a family. That's my final answer. There's no distractions in your life like there would be with a family. Those of you that have families, you just got to do that. So everything I'm saying, those of you that have families, it's empty and meaningless. It doesn't have value in your life because you have a family. So everything I'm saying here is irrelevant for a lot of you. A lot of you, it's irrelevant because you're in relationships. You're actively sexual. You're dating. A lot of you have multiple partners. A lot of you are cheating on your husbands or wives and girlfriends or boyfriends. I'm not judging you. Just saying that there are people in this chat that are not faithful to the person that they're with. Not my life. And you feel guilty about it. And that guilt, that guilt's being harvested. So when you get rid of the guilt, how do you get rid of the guilt? I don't cheat. Okay, great. So now that's one step beyond I'm faithful. Great. And then you get rid of the relationship. You have no responsibility. That's one less thing you're getting harvested with. But there are people in this chat. There will be people listening to this. Don't get pissed off at me. You're not faithful to your partner. And a lot of you are not even all in with your partner. Like you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You're not even all in. You're waiting for someone else to come along that will be better than the person that you're with. So it's like this is what we do in relationships. We use each other. I'm saying this is what we all do. We use one another. You can't have sex with yourself, masturbation, yeah, but you can't, it's not the same. You can't kiss yourself. What are you going to kiss your hand? You're going to hold hands with yourself? You use your partner. It's like your partner is a parasite. That's what we do. That's the truth about it. We just got to be authentic and honest about this stuff, man. There's nothing bad about what I'm saying here. That's just the downright truth of the matter. Is that we use each other. When you're friends with somebody, yeah, that's my best friend. Why is it your best friend? Well, they make me laugh. So you're using them to get your laughter. Oh, no, I don't use my friend. Of course you use your friends. To go have a good time. That's my best friend. Why is it your best friend? We go on the town, we have a good time. So you're using your best friend so you have somebody to go rub shoulders with. Because why don't you just go out on the town by yourself? I would never do that. Why? I get why, but I'm just saying is that you use your friends and your friends use you. That's what we do as human beings. We use each other. That's what reality is we're living in. That's what it means to be a human being. Mr. Biscuits is asking, was it hard for you to accept all that you have come to learn and believe? No. There came a point to where the code was so obvious in my face that it would be hard for me not to accept it. Like it constantly reminds me through receipts, through the clock, when I wake up and I turn my phone on for the first time and the time of when I wake up, there's a code there, constantly reminding me. Constantly. So it wasn't hard at all. It was very easy because it's like riding a bike and taking your hands off. You ever ride a bike with no hands? I mean, I used to be able to do it, right? It was like a thing to do when you were a kid. But it's like riding the bike and you don't have to hold on to the handlebars. You just got to pedal. That's what it feels like when you when you look at the code and you're like, you know what? Something's controlling my life. And I want to know more of what's controlling me. So that's when you dive into the code and you look at your astrological chart and you look at your numerology and you look at as many things as I get my hands on. I want to look at it. I'm curious, but this is not for everybody. Matter of fact, if you're somebody who likes what I'm talking about, you're the minority. Because the majority of people don't want to figure out what their code is. They're not interested in that. They're interested in watching the shows and the Kardashians and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, by the way. I'm not comparing that. I'm just saying is that that's the code they got. They're more interested in following, keeping up with the Joneses, chasing after ass, having an orgasm. That's what they're more interested in than studying themselves to figure out like, hey, you know what? Maybe I could leave a legacy behind in my life, and I want to know what that legacy is going to be, because when I see it coming, it's much more enjoyable. I think so. What's up, Tommy? Truthful in the house. Oh, brother, I just figured I'd come here live and, you know, I don't go to bed till like 4:30 in the morning. It's getting close to 4, so I'll be tuning off rather shortly. But I started at like, I don't know, what time did I start? I don't even know. 2:15 Central Standard Time. So some of you are waking up. I, ladies and gentlemen, I'm considering doing an 8-hour What's Your Question? And then I'm going to do a 12-hour straight. Yeah. When I feel, I know I can already do the 8-hour, no problem. The actual fact of the matter says, so when God said, I will write the words in the table of our hearts, do you think that was a code? It's all code. The whole thing is code. Heather's asking, Logan, what do you do when you're staring at your code? When you're staring at your code, it differs from the life path you're set on. I don't understand your question. Let's go to. Let me give all of you some sneak peeks here. Let me show you what I got on the table coming out. This one is already done. I've already shot this, and you know I'm just going to show you this, and I'm going to narrate this, and I'm going to tell all of you. I feel that this just may be how our reality works, and the Matrix is inside this hole that we've all been born inside of, and we're all living inside of a computer system. And this is what Tron, the movie Tron, was trying to tell you. Kevin Flynn getting stuck inside of a computer system. They redid it, and Disney redid it. Jeff Bridges, et cetera, et cetera. And there have been so many other ones. Westworld. They've all been telling us that we're inside of a computer system. I know that's very far-fetched, and that's far beyond like simulation. Like this big popular thing about we're in a simulation. Yeah, well, what does that mean? Like, it's so easy to say that, but why don't you define what that means? I've talked about this quite a bit, but this is the story of the sons of God. And in Genesis 6 verses 2, and them seeing the women, and they were beautiful, and they wanted to take wives for themselves. And they had the lust, like all of you. All of you have, at one point in your life, have had lust for somebody. That's just like you got the goo goo gaga eyes. Like, oh shit, that person's hot. I'd like to get that person in the sack. Right? That's what this fallen story is all about. Maybe, just maybe, how we all got here. Spirit went down in the hole. Right? It's all about the hole. The matrix, the womb, the hole. So I got this. This one will be out in the Patreon very shortly. It's already done. And then I have this one coming out on the hidden sign, Ophiuchus. And, you know, this has its say in the astrological chart, absolutely, because of the fact that it sits on the ecliptic. So if somebody tells you, oh, it doesn't sit on the ecliptic, that's bullshit. It sits on the ecliptic. Okay? The foot of Ophiuchus sits over the ecliptic, which makes it part of the ecliptic. And, you know, Ophiuchus, and I'm going to give you a couple slides on this. All right? The serpent bearer. And, you know, I was like, okay, serpents, let's look into some snakes. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the most toxic snake in the world. Look at the name of this thing. The Oxyuranus. The Oxy-Uranus microlepidotus. Funky name. Oxy, as in oxygen. Oxy. Uranus microlepidotus. The inland taipan snake. And see what the numerology is of it. 94. What is the 94? 9 is, you can't get any higher than the 9. Think of 9 dimensions up. And then 4 is the 4 blood types. The 4 corners of the earth. Okay? And what's really fascinating about this is that the numerology of Isaiah 14 verses 12, which is the only scripture that mentions what the Latins call Lucifer, and it's Halil, and the total numerology of Isaiah 14 verses 12 is 94. And there is so much reference to Lucifer being the serpent. So this is a scripted reality, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, how on earth could this thing... And the question is, the guy who named this snake, was he sitting down with numerology and he knew that this scripture was a 94? My final answer is, hell no, he didn't. But we live in a scripted reality. Okay? We live inside of a scripted reality. So I got this coming out. This one's going to be a humdinger for sure. And then I have this huge decode coming out as well. We're going to get into some Egyptian mythology, and it's Horus and Set. It's light and dark. And ladies and gentlemen, this decode as well. Like, I got some of the biggest decodes I've ever done coming out. And, this is one of them. And Horus and Set. What is Horus and Set? Jesus and Lucifer, of course. Jesus represents the daytime, the light of the world, AM. And Lucifer represents the nighttime, the PM, the night. You can see how Jesus is 18, Lucifer is 28. They both have the 8 there. Jesus has got the 1, Lucifer's got the 2. And I go all into it with chemistry, and the day paves way for the night. You can see that it's a 69, which is the yin yang. And the last slide I'll show you here is that the males, the atoms, we represent the Christ. I've said that we're all the Jesus Christ character, but if we're going to be very specific here, Jesus is the AM, it's atom, and the atom is the photon, the proton, the photon, light. And then you see Lucifer gets tied, and this is why Lucifer is tied to the serpent here, right here. Because, you ladies, you get Lucifer. Now, don't get pissed off and offended, and don't just reject what I'm saying here. This is just what we're talking about here, right? And Lucifer, Lucy, because who's the one in this story of Adam and Eve? Who's the one who bit the apple first? It wasn't Adam, it was Eve. And she got seduced by the serpent, Lucifer. Okay? So Lucifer's tied to Eve. You females, you get Lucy. The seduction. Right? That's why I said so many times, and I'll say it again, that you women have all the power. You have all the power because guys don't get dolled up, they don't get all looking sexy, and there's no seduction. The women have all the power if you want it. I'm not saying some of you get out there and manipulate and you get all dolled up and you go like, oh, I'm just going to go get some and I'm going to go get this dude because I think this and that. No, but there's a lot of women that do, and they can, and they do, you see. So the female is the Adam's apple, right? Adam's apple is Lucifer. And the apple is tied to the fallen. through this allegorical story, and it's tied to night and day. Okay? And you can see how Jesus is a 9 and Lucifer is a 1 in their roots. And Eve and Adam are the same numerology. This right here is Adam. Adam is a 9, matching Jesus. And Eve is a 1, matching Lucifer. Okay? The fallen starts with the number 1. And then the 9 repeats it. The male chasing the female, the king chasing the queen. It never ends, ladies and gentlemen. When the game starts over again, it's the male chasing the female, male chasing ass, the female wanting the male to chase him. The female likes the chase. She wants the male to dominate because that's the way they're programmed. And I know there's going to be women out there that are going to be exceptions. You'll be like, no, I don't like it that way. Well, good for you. But the majority of women, they like to have the chase. They like to be dominated. They like to be told what to do. They want the male to save them. They want the knight in shining armor. They want the Adam to come down to play the game. And this is the fallen angel story here. The males looking at the females and they say, oh, they're hot. I want to go marry them and have what? And this is where you're going to get the Nephilim and the giants. This is where all these stories come from. And it's tied to light and dark, Horus and Set. Okay? All these things are tied together, and Egyptian mythology predates the story of the Bible. The Bible is a book that is derived from the Egyptian book of life and death. These are just stories retold, regurgitated. So I got these coming out, folks. These are going to be some big ones. And then I got this one coming out right here. This one is going to be another big one. Underworld. Is there such a thing as the underworld? Well, you're in it. We're in the underworld. From the spiritual realm, we're in the underworld. When the fallen want to come down here, maybe this is a vacation spot for spirit. They come down to the underworld. We're in the underworld. And then do we have an underworld? Maybe. So this is coming out, this is going to have a lot of Egyptian stuff to it, and this will blow your mind. I'm going to use some Egyptian artifacts. I'm going to tie it right into chemistry like I don't think anybody's ever done. And it's not me doing it, so I'm not taking any credit for it. But these are big heavy hitters coming out. Big ones. Luna Long Shadow says, women are truly gorgeous, though you got to admit, 1,000%. You know, when I decoded the Fallen, that decode I have coming out, and I'll just be I'll give all of you the skinny on it real quick. I'm going to show you. The sons of God, saw the women and thought they were beautiful and decided to go down, become matter, and take wives for themselves and then have sex, and, you know, the rest is history. Well, wouldn't you know it that this card right here is the card of the sons of God. And guess what? This is my birth card. So I'm coming out with this Fallen. I'm coming out with the theological matrix, the womb. I'm coming out with all this. I've done Love is the Trap. And I got the damn card of the sons of God. I am the card of the sons of God. I didn't pick my birthday. But the sons of God and the numerology of it, it's tied right to this right here. And this card is trapped. The word women in Hebrew, from Genesis 6 verses 2 that talks about the sons of God seeing the beautiful women. Women in numerology in Hebrew is 58, and that's the 58th card in the deck. So what is this saying? Women are the trap. Now, listen, if you're a lady, don't get pissed off because I'm saying that. Don't think I'm an asshole for saying that. I'm just telling you what the code says. See, Adam didn't bite the apple in the story. Eve bit the apple first and seduced Adam, said, hey, bite this. You should try this apple. And you could bring the context into all that kind of stuff on sex. Hey, you want a little bit of this? So I'm saying is what the code's saying is that this is the card tied to women. When you get into a relationship, you're trapped. Now I know, like you ladies, well, what about the dude? Yeah, well, it goes both ways. But I'm pointing out the code on the story of the sons of God. And the sons of God that married the women that thought they were hot and they had lust and desire, when they went down and became a human being, now you're trapped. Now you can't get out. Now you're stuck here. There is some merit to that. And why am I the guy that gets this as my birth card? And why am I living a life of celibacy? Why am I talking about love is the trap? Before I even did this decode on Sons of God, realizing that this is the Sons of God card. Because I'm living in a screenplay. I'm living out a scripted reality. I'm not in control of my reality. That's the skinny on it, folks. That's the skinny on it. So if I offended you, well, I offended you. If you're a lady, right? I'm not here to offend you ladies. Like, I'm a fan of life. I'm a fan of women. Yeah, I mean, I've been married 3 times. What does that tell you? I like to be in love. I like relationships. I like all that kind of stuff. 3 times marriage, I mean, that should tell you that I'm someone who wants to commit. V asks, do you fight for all that is good? I don't fight. I just do. Why is fighting necessary? So no, I don't fight. I just do. I do what I'm supposed to do. I do what my screen, and the more I study my code, the more I'm willing to do it when I see it show up. Because what am I going to do? Say, oh no, that's not me, when I feel that's what I'm supposed to do. You know, I mean, I was just breaking down Marilyn Manson today. Someone sent me, in the Patreon, someone sent a video. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to check out his astrological chart. And the guy, he's all in. He's all in on his code, man. He's not budging from his code. I mean, I would imagine the guy knows what's going on in this reality. Joel Osteen, he's not budging from being a preacher. He's all in. He's cashed all in. He doesn't believe anymore. He knows. He's all in on his screenplay. And I've already shown Joel Osteen's astrological chart. And you know what his astrological chart says? He was born to be a preacher. He was born to market to people. The church. Why is not everybody following Joel Osteen? Why is not everybody on the Joel Osteen bandwagon? Or bandwagon. Why did I say bandwagon? I think I'm tired. Bandwagon. Because if everybody was doing the Joel Osteen bandwagon, life would be boring. Why are there over 10,000 religions? What happened to the first one? Where's the critical thinking in our reality these days? What happened to the first religion? There's 10,000. Don't you want to know I'd love to know what the first one is. You'll never find it though. N. Williams asks, how is the Eight of Swords the God card? It's not the God card, it's the Sons of God card. It's the Sons of God card. Because the word Sons of God in numerology is my birth card. And there's a lot of other layers to it. You have to be a decoder, and you got to start to connect and see the code. You can't, just me saying it's the numerology of my card, it's not enough. There's more to it than that. So I'll take you on this journey real quick. Let me show you what numerology, right? So sons of God took wives for themselves. Okay? Genesis 6 verses 2. This is the first time it was mentioned, right? The sons of God saw the daughters of men, so they took wives for them, right? The sons of God. Well, when you do it in the English, it's 47, which is my birth card. When you go to the periodic table, so you can't just stop there. You gotta go deeper. You need more clues. This right here is the clue giver, the periodic table. So you go to the 47th element. And what is 47? Silver. Well, what do you go from there? Well, what did they used to call Hollywood movies? The silver screen. You're on the silver screen. Because you're in a damn movie, folks. See, spirit is in a movie. Right? That's what the silver means. The sons of God come down into this reality to be part of the movie. That's what the Truman Show was trying to tell you. Because they looked at the women like, damn, those women are hot. I want to go play that game. So their desire to come down and play the game, they went to come down, and they're now part of the silver screen. 47. And even the clue here, see the clue is the 107? Well, then you just go to mathematics. You go to numberempire.com and you type in 107. That's going to be the 28th prime number. You see? Well, what's 28 in numerology? You come back to numerology. Well, this is. You see? Lucifer's 28. See? So 107 is the 28th prime number. And silver is 107.868. And Lucifer's known as the fallen one. Right? The head of the fallen one. That what they wanted to have sex with the women. See, and I'm not saying it's true, but I'm showing you the code that's saying that that's written into the fabric of the code. Even silver, folks, silver is 20, which is tied to duality. You come down and you be part of the silver screen, you're now part of duality. And inside duality, you have what's called a birthday. And in order to have a birthday from spirit, you got to turn into matter. Spirit into matter. They're all 20. So then you go back to the periodic table. What's the 20th element? Calcium. And what's your bones and teeth made out of? Calcium. See how all this is connected? But of course, I have so many hours, an ungodly amount of hours in decoding. I've been doing this for over 10 years. This is what I'm being used for, to decode, to show you what all this means. And I could just go on and on. I could do it all improv now, just from this. Okay? Just from this. It's so easy to see now. And I could go on and on and on and on for hours and hours and hours just from somebody giving me a topic. This is what I did today. Someone tipped me off on the Patreon. Bam, 50 slides, Underworld decoded, just like that. Because somebody posted something. And that's all it took. And I was off to the races. Tommy's asking, what's my opinion on the origin of the first religion? I have no idea. It's going to come down to an opinion, and the opinion, it will be just an opinion. There's no substance to the opinion. I don't give a shit how many books you've read, I don't care what kind of timelines you can't prove them. You've never been there. Books can be fabricated. They can be put into this reality. So I'm not like, history can be augmented. History can be fabricated. So it's going to come down to an opinion. Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask me, like, is that it for you, Logan? Are you done? I've already said so many times that I've let go, right? I already know I'm not in control of my reality, and I'm totally cool with that. I've let go. So if some girl comes around and blows my mind and it feels the exact way it's supposed to feel, I'm not gonna say, well, I'm never gonna get into a relationship ever again. Not going to say that. I'm not into absolutes, if you will. I'm not going to say that I'm done completely, but I will say that, I have very high standards. I'm super picky, and the girl that comes along that if I'm in to get into a relationship with would have to completely blow my mind, from chemistry, the physicalness, to intelligence, all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, like I've already kind of told the voice in my head, don't send me anybody that doesn't match up. And I'm just like, I know what I like. I know what I want. I would imagine all of you are the same way. So at this stage of the game, as I've already alluded to already, like there's a luxury in being celibate. There's a luxury in not worrying about somebody doing this or doing that. With all the things going on the world stage, there's a luxury in being by yourself. I think there's more of a luxury of being by yourself and being celibate than there is being in a relationship and having sex with somebody. So. The actual fact of the matter says, Logan, what happens if love was a part of your script? Then love was a part of your script. I've thrown this around so many times. I'm being very candid here, being very raw and honest and all that stuff. And a lot of people say, well, you talk about neutrality and like, what does it mean to be neutral? And well, what does it mean to you? I've talked about it. I have countless hours talking about it. And so many different videos, so many live What's Your Questions. This live What's Your Question 88. I've talked about it so many times now. And those of you that have, like I've talked about having kids and not having kids, and like my opinion on what I say is absolutely meaningless because sometimes I say things that is completely against how your life is operated. So it would completely, my opinion would be like smashed in your reality. And there's a very good chance that you're living out your own reality. You're living out your own simulation. And the old proverb said, when the game is over, the king and pawn go back in the same box. Like it's just one big cosmic joke. You're in a movie. We're in a dream. It doesn't matter if you're this or if you're that. It doesn't matter if you're lukewarm. It doesn't matter if you're neutral. There's a big say in that right there, right? So of course I'm on the hunt and I push these narratives and I theorize against these narratives and all that kind of stuff. And I'm talking about this and I'm talking about that. But there's a very good chance that this is a dream. We already know this is entertainment. I already know this is a movie that we're in. I already know that this is a fact of mine, right? But you don't have to accept that. But I already know because the code's already showed itself to me so many times over. I would be an idiot not to accept that. But once again, if you haven't experienced the same things that I have, then maybe it's like, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, in your world, I don't. I don't have a clue in your world. So your reality is the only reality that matters. And at the end of the day, when you finally pass on, we don't know what happens when we pass on. We don't know if we get reincarnated. We don't know if we're stuck inside this reality and we're never going to get out. Imagine that, folks, that you're never going to get out of this reality ever. Imagine that is a 1 + 1 = 2 fact, that you'll never, ever, ever, ever leave this reality. You will continually reincarnate. and you'll turn into a different character. That would be a huge game changer for your life, because then you would do a lot more things. You know, there was a time in my life when I was like running from the pole shift. I was running from the end of the world. I did a lot of that in my life. You know, my second marriage, I got married because I was fornicating. I got back into religion. I got married. My second marriage, we were having sex, you know, premarital fornication, and of course it was taboo. So like, well then, instead of doing that, let's just get married, and you know, we don't have to worry about being inflamed with passion, as the Bible said, right? So we got married. It didn't last. And then I went back and I did this and that, and like I've done so many, horrible sins in my life. But how can they be sins when I see a screenplay playing out, I see the code playing out, and then I decode all these other people and I see that these people had no choices? It's a big game changer when you do these things. When you look at the code and then you're like, well, wait a minute. So there's a very good possibility, ladies and gentlemen, that the reason why you have emotional reactions is because they're being harvested. There's a reason why you have guilt trips. There's a reason why you get sad and angry and pissed off and you have resentment, because your emotions are being harvested. There's a very good chance that's the truth. And that's just the way it is. And it's food. You know, the Greeks talked about this, that your emotions are ambrosia and you're food for the gods, and they're feeding off of you. And that's why we're entertainment, and it feeds off of drama. And drama has the word ra in it. Drama. Ma, mother, matrix, drama. Ra and ma. The matrix and ra, with the D on the front. The cornerstone of the word drama has the letter D, which is the word of delta, like sleeping. When you sleep tonight, you're going to go into a delta state. Sleeping. And you may sleep and never wake up tonight. Do you ever think about that? I do. You're going to retire tonight. That may be it. You may never wake up, but you'll never know. So there's all these things to consider. And as I've already said so many times, ladies and gentlemen, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. The people that are that have the knowledge, that know a thing or two about a thing or two, they're not just going to come out and tell you. Like, you got to know somebody, right? It's got to be in your screenplay to find out. But as I already talked about tonight, Pope Francis, a lot of people think he's a bad guy. But he ain't changing the course of his life. He is, what I say, he's all in. So if he's the bad guy, well, logic would tell you he knows he's the bad guy, but he ain't changing the course of his actions. So if you're sitting there judging people, which I hope by now you're not doing that, but if you're somebody who sits there and you look at people in the world and say, I don't like that person, why? They're just doing their job. They're doing their screenplay. Maybe they don't like you. So when you look at somebody that are doing bad things and they have a very high position in this reality, I can assure you 99% of the time, if not 100% of the time, they know how this reality works. But they're not changing the course of their actions. That should have bells go off in your head. Because if we know this stuff, and then we're scrambling to do this and do that, and these people aren't changing the course of their lives, ladies and gentlemen. They are all in. They don't have this guilt trip on whether or not they're doing it right. There's a huge difference between those people that they know a thing or two about a thing or two than the average person in this reality that just woke up and said, oh yeah, that's a Jesuit or that's a Mason. They're this and they're that. Well, let me tell you right now, those people have a hell of a lot more about what's going on in this reality. They know a hell of a lot more than you do, but you sit there and you judge them. and you cast stones. And you don't even know anything, but you're doing that. I used to be one of those people. And I'm so glad I'm not anymore. So what I'm saying for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pull a few cards and then I'm going to call it a night because it's 4:30 in the morning here, and I could go for hours and hours, and I'm not going to do that because I want to get on my regular sleep pattern. But I hope by now you've stopped judging people. I hope by now, when you think you're all high and mighty and you're awake and you call it, oh, those people are sheep or sleep. I hope you're not doing that anymore. I hope you bypass that mindset. And I hope you look at people now, like a lot of these things I talked about, like people pumping kids on, this are just my perspectives as an analyst of life, not judging anybody, just me analyzing life and being a realist. I don't judge people for what they do. I'm just glad I'm not in there. She was like, they're not even aware they're pumping a kid out, but they're doing that anyway, and they don't have the money to afford that. I'm so glad I'm not going to have to do that because that's a shit show waiting to happen. I wouldn't want to experience that. But that's not judging. That's just being a realist. But I hope by now you're not looking at people in this reality and judging them. Joe Biden, just doing his job. Kamala Harris, she's just doing her job. Donald Trump, just doing his job. Barack Obama, just doing his job. Bill Gates, just doing his job. And if you think those people are dumb and they don't know what's going on, you got another thing coming. You don't get in a place like that and not know what the hell's going on around you. So I hope by now you've stopped judging, you stopped looking at people and casting stones, thinking that they're this or they're that, I hope by now you've surpassed that. Like when you look at masonry and you're like, oh, those freaking Masons. I hope you've graduated outside of that. You've gone past that. Because not everybody incarnates to be the good character in this reality. You have protagonist, antagonist. Not everybody incarnates to play the same character. All right. I see. Yeah, I have no moderation in here tonight. The great Pamela is MIA. I'm going to give her shit for it. Just going to bust her chops. But that's all good. I'm actually glad that I don't. And I see some of you here, and you've been very cordial, and some of you are not. That's totally. That's not. Listen, I ain't going to lose sleep over it tonight. If you go and you look, my graduation was when and you go look at the comments. Sometimes I have fun and I'm kind of a smart ass, but there's a lot of people that post comments and they just nasty. And I just leave them. I don't care anymore. I'm past that point. I don't care what you think of me. Your opinion doesn't pay my bills. It doesn't create people coming and getting the use of this channel. I don't care. I'm probably never going to meet you. I actually so glad I don't have your life. I'm grateful that I don't have your life that you have to live. So it's all good. It's all about love, man. It's all about like live and let live. So if you don't agree with what you hear here, then maybe this channel's not for you. That's it. Just call it a day. It's all good. See, I could just remove anybody in here that I want. Can do that. It's just free when you see people go bickering back and forth, and it's just like, la-di-da, whatever. Who cares? It's so much more fun. It's just, you just do you. That's called neutrality, is when you can look at comments and just not care. You know? So like this perfect example, this person V, whoever this person is, says, block me, show your true colors. I don't care. It's just amusement, man. That's all. I'm just grateful I don't have your energy and your vibes. I'm not going to block anybody. I don't care. Lost a card. Hold on one sec, folks. And we're going to pull a couple cards. It's just like, you showed your true colors. Not really. They're just colors, man. The colorful characters of who you are as human beings. But if you're going to bring that energy, you're better off going to go watch the presidential debates and go use your energy over there. You'd have more use of a presidential debate and debating over there than you would on this channel. Because I don't care. Oh, it's so funny. I've already said this so many times. If you're following somebody who's debating, you should think twice about following that person. Because debating, man, it's like, what do you got to prove? Well, you think you got it all figured out and you're right and everybody else is wrong? Where are you going to do with that? Then what happens when I showed this person. Okay, now what? Or do you get a medal pinned on your chest? Does someone send you a check? Because you beat the person in a debate? Does somebody get to like pat you on the back or send you a few emails to tell you how great you are? What do you get for a reward for, I showed that person? Yeah, Tommy, I don't know about the two moons. I don't know anything about that. So I'm very ignorant in that area. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. So. Yeah, I could probably go more and more and more, but I'm not going to go anymore. All right, let's pull some tarot cards. Here we go. Look at the bottom of the deck. There we go. 3 of Wands, baby. It's so interesting because this card right here is tied to the Fallen. This is card 25, Fallen Angel. This is Fallen. 3 of Wands. This is the card of the adventurer. Like, hey, I like what's going. We're already following in the footsteps of the Fallen. That story. How I know that to be true is that we use this black mirror. We use this thing and we go into this thing. And if it's not this, it's your television. I know a lot of you, I don't watch TV. Yeah, but you got an Amazon Prime subscription. You got a Netflix subscription. You're here on YouTube. So there's no difference of whether or not you watch TV anymore. Why are we saying these things? We just adjust into something else. So what we're doing is we're going into this thing. We're going down into this and becoming part of this. And the metaverse, that's what it's all about. Is going into the meta, you're going into, and this is where you're going to get Ready Player One and all this shit that's coming. We're going into another fractal. Every one of us here has already done it. We're doing it right now. You're staring into your phone or your computer. You're into a different fractal right now. Like if you go to a live seminar convention of me speaking or someone speaking at that thing, that is different than watching it over YouTube. You're removing. This is why I've created these rooms. You see me in this room to give you the idea of what we're doing as people. When you go to a live performance, that's the natural law, right? I'm in person. When you watch paid per view or you watch it like this is the fractal, just like the Fallen Angel story. You're now going into a different realm or reality. There's no difference. And they want to make it permanent. I say the consciousness of this reality. But anyway, let's pull some cards. I'm going to just do 3 cards. We're going to call it a night. So the easiest thing to talk about here is what's the most important thing for you to focus on in your life right now? What's the most important thing for you to focus on in your life right now? And I'll do the best to interpret these 3 cards. Some of you, it may not have any relevance at all, but some of you, it may have major significance in your reality. Okay? So the very first card, what's the most important thing for you to focus on in your life right now? Is the 8th card in the deck. This card, ladies and gentlemen, is control. This is the 8th card in the deck, and this is tied to the prison. See, this card right here, see the woman right there? She's taming the lion. And the lion is your animalistic instincts. It's your sex drive. And it's a woman taming the lion, which should tell you that this is control of your animalistic endeavors. This is tied to the house of Libra/Scorpio. And that's the underworld, the dark, where everybody gets all seductive and silky and sexy. This card right here is absolutely controlling your mojo. Being able to say no. But let's see what's beyond that, because it's very loose based on that. But that's the strength card. The 8th card in the major arcana, which is the infinity symbol. Okay. The second card. Second card for all of you here is, look at that, partnerships. Card 38. This is a card of partnership. Straight up, just going to keep it really simple. Partnership. Maybe what this is saying is that you need to create a new partnership with being able to control and be the master of your domain. And maybe that's the energy that's going to be coming in for your screenplay. And again, this is not going to be for everybody, right? But for some of you, that will be the message here. And I'm going to get one final card and see if we could tie it all together. The third and final card, the most important thing to focus on in life right now. Well, we have the Ace of Cups. See, these cups, what I will tell you here, this card right here is card number 37. It's tied to Ra, and you see that the cup is never ending. It's overflowing. It's the dove to come down, and it fills that cup. And these cups represent the devil. And why I say that, let me just show you. I'm gonna give you a very big indicator here. It's because there's this toy. Okay? It's called a Diabolo. Right here. You see this thing right there? Those are the cups in the tarot. Okay? These cups. Okay? Looking for love. Wish fulfillment. Okay? Fantasy. Choices. Being a kid again. Okay? These are all, and this is the card we just pulled. These two we just got. This is the beginning of love. And this is the form of a partnership of love. Okay? This is the devil. Why I say that is because of the aspect of the Diabolo here. Right there. These represent the devil. You're in the matrix. This is the hourglass right here. You ever see this show right here called Days of Our Lives? Right there. What is the image? It's a soap opera. There it is. What do you think this is? It's an hourglass. It's the infinity symbol. The sands of time is tied to, and what is this word right here? Diabolo, which is where diabolos came from, the Greek word for the devil. It's this. It's the soap opera. You're in it. It's drama. And people love watching this stuff. They love living drama in their lives. And that's the energy that's being harvested in this reality, is drama. So perhaps what this is saying is that for some of you, you have drama that's continually coming in, creating a partnership that's constantly being harvested through your sexual animalistic endeavors. Like some of you watching this, you have an addiction to porn. I'm not judging you at all. But that addiction is, you're being harvested for it. When next time you watch it and you're trying to get off, that energy that you're trying to get off, that's being harvested. So the next time maybe you turn it on and be like, you know what? I'm being harvested. You're not going to get my energy this time. That's the strength card right here. The lion represents your sex drive, your mojo. And the other way I look at this, for some of you, you may be having a new relationship coming into your reality. You may be having a new relationship coming in, forming a new partnership, and that's the most important thing for you to focus on. Again, I'm not saying that being celibate and, not being in a partnership is the way to go for every single one of you, because some of you right now are maybe talking to somebody that you're attracted to, that you want to start dating, or you're already dating right now. And I'm not going to stand in your way and be the authority here to tell you, oh, I'm right. I would never do that, because your screenplay, your reality is... It blows out my reality. Like, who the hell's Logan? Nobody. So that message may not be for you. Some of you, you may have relationships coming in. A new partnership is coming in for you. And I'm telling you that the devil is relationships, the love trap. That's why Elvis sang in his song, he says, I'm caught in a trap. I can't get out because I love you too much, baby. That's life. That's women. And for you ladies, it'll be dudes. So for some of you, you are going to have, and what you need to focus on is this new relationship. You may end up finding a partner, and that person may change the course of your life for the better. They may enhance your life. You may get more spiritual with this person. They may take you on an adventure to the mountains of Peru and completely change the fabric of your reality. So that's why I would never tell anybody, yeah, you should be doing what I'm doing, living a life of celibacy. And I don't know if this is permanent for me. It's not my final answer. I'm not saying this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So for some of you, you may have a new partnership coming in and it's overflowing. You may be like head over heels in love right now. And the strength card, just maybe you need to wait a little bit instead of just dropping your pants right away like you normally do. You give it up. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? But I'm just saying maybe that's the course of action here is that you have a new partnership coming in and it will be very bountiful. I mean, the Ace of Cups the aces represent new. This is new. So something new, and this is partnerships. For some of you, this may read to where your new DNA activation upgrade as a human being will be moving into a state of celibacy. You will have a new life come in that will form a new relationship with you and your spirit guide, you and God, you and your spirituality, you and your doppelganger, as I like to say. And this newfound action will be, you will be celibate. You will be someone who is, not in a relationship. You're not going to be in any more relationships. You need to give it a break. Some of you that jump from relationship to relationship, you kind of know instinctively that needs to change. And that may be what it is for you, is that you need to form a new relationship with this newfound feeling of intuition. And that newfound feeling is you need to be able to say no. You need to cool it. You need to be the master of your domain. Okay? And I'm going to pull one card from this deck and see if we can't get a house or a planet to focus on. For all of you, if you want a little bit of an extension, maybe it'll provide you what area of your astrological map to focus on. Let's see what we can get. So the card, the house, the planetary position to focus on. Your IC. This is the position in your astrological chart that's in the bottom, the root of the tree. This is going to be probably around your fourth house area. So for some of you, this is your family. This is your home. Maybe making a new home to where you say no to relationships, or you say no to porn, or you say no to sex, or you say no to dating for a while. Some of you, it would just be the opposite, that you want to create a new relationship with somebody. You want to let yourself go. You want to be a little bit of an animal. And maybe you want to pay attention, like what's in your fourth house. This is tied to your fourth house. And then and remember that Cancer is the ruler of the hotel number 4. So you also want to look to see where Cancer's at, to see if maybe your Cancer's in your 9th house. And you want to pay attention to the 9th house as well to see if there's any activity going on there that's influencing your IC. Okay? So that's what I got for you, fam. That's the interpretation I got for you. I hope that maybe really helped a lot of you out. Again, it's not going to be for everybody. Don't try to force it. Of what I'm saying here, it may not have no relevance at all in your life, but don't try to force it. And the last thing I'll do is just pull a card from my bicycle deck. It's called the Shadow Masters. Just for a final going away card here. Just for kind of like icing on the top. Let's see what this card is. Queen of Diamonds. card number 38. So that strengthens the Two of Cups. This strengthens the doppelganger, the partnership, the Two of Cups card coming in, forming a partnership. Some of you may need to end the partnership. And that's what the 8th card of strength is. You need to stop the relationship from progressing. This card right here is not only tied to the Two of Cups, it is tied to the Queen of Pentacles, but it's tied to the Two of Cups because this is card 38. The Two of Cups is card 38. This is the Red Queen. And this card right here, if you want to watch an amazing movie, go watch The Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington. It came out in 2004. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It was a remake of the 1962 movie with Frank Sinatra. And the Queen of Diamonds was the Red Queen, and it was all about mind control. It's an amazing movie. Denzel Washington and Liev Schreiber. And the mind control is tied to that Two of Cups. Partnerships, the doppelganger, the voice in your head. So some of you may be refining your reality with a new partnership with DNA activation upgrades, where you're refining your life, where you're able to say no, where you're able to completely end things. Maybe a relationship that's toxic. You're able to say no, I'm going to walk away because you have value in your reality. For some of you, you may be starting something brand new. That person may change the course of your life forever. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I got for you. Refinement, baby. That's right, Anne-Marie. Refinement. So big shout out to all of you in Australia and New Zealand. It's probably your, so you guys are 15 hours ahead. So you guys are nighttime? I don't know. And then for some of you, you're just waking up and you got your coffee and I'm just ready to go to bed. That's like, I'm past my bedtime right now too, because I know when I go to bed, you're going to bed at over 5 in the morning. But this was a lot of fun. What's your question number 88? Big heavy layer of raw in this. I got some big time decodes coming out. And, again, if you're somebody who's not on the Patreon, you can get over there. There's free material. You don't have to be a donating member. But I have 3 tiers over there. If you want, I have over almost 70 videos that are not on the public YouTube that you can go join and watch them all. And they're big ones. My flat earth, I have so many big decodes on there that will blow you away. So, all right. So that's going to be it, man. What am I going to play for? I'll just play this right here. So this right here is DJ Korolova. This is normally my intro song for What's Your Question. This is her remix of Another Brick in the Wall. DJ Korolova. I'll let all of you chat here. I'm going to end it here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Appreciate each and every one of you. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you.
Dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave their kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. Another brick in the wall. in the wall.